Hey everybody, welcome back to my layout. This will be a layout update for June 2019. First off, I'd like to apologize for the lack of content for me over the past month. Work has been absolutely crazy and I haven't had time to do much of anything else but that. So it's unfortunate, but it's the way things are sometimes. So really haven't done anything at all train related over the past month, but sort of catch you up to May. I built this Pulling for United Way unit here back in May, so this will kind of catch us up to present day. So this is a unit that I've been meaning to do for about 6 years now. I've had this SD90 43 Mac Kato sitting in a box for over 5 years. Finally got around to putting the decoder in it and decaling it up for this special Pulling for United Way unit that CP did. So the quick backstory of this unit is it was the only one painted like this out of all the SD90 43 Macs that CP had. The reason for that was at the time the CEO was Rob Ritchie, and in 1999 he was the chair of the United Way campaign. So under his direction, I'm assuming they had this one unit painted like this. Really unique paint job. So I've had the decal for this unit just as long as I've had the model, and I was a little worried that it was going to be so old it wouldn't, it'd be cracked or something, or when I tried to lift it off the sheet, but it came off pretty good. It was given to me by a friend, and it was made by Rail Graphics Custom Decals, and they have a serial number there of 5688. Not sure where he got it from, but they're pretty good. They're not quite as thin as microscale, probably because they're homemade, but it worked well. So definitely the hardest decal job I've ever had to do. To remove the Golden Beaver paint scheme off one of these is really difficult. And I did it with the method I always do, microsol and a pencil eraser and just a lot of patience, but it really took a lot of time. So if you look super close at it, you can see there's some marking up at the top there. It's not perfect, but I really tried my best to get it to sit down as close as I could, and it was a little bit more difficult, because like I said, it was a thicker decal than the usual microscale stuff, so it was pretty tricky to get it to sit down in all those cracks. I used a hobby knife to really hack it up into every little crack, make a cut, and then I don't know how many coats of microsol I put on it to try and soften it up. It's not flawless, but I'm definitely happy with it. So some of the other details I added were a Decals West horn, 3-chime horn. I think it's a K3L. Don't quote me on that. I tried to mount it as high up as I could, just like the prototype. I kind of roughly scraped off the. This was a 9138 to start with, so I kind of used a little bit of tiny bit of white paint to do the number boards, and they look okay. When I have some time, I'm going to reprint those on paper and get them looking better. I removed the pilot mounted ditch lights and put those up on the anti-climber just like the prototype. Filled the holes down below, and then did remove the Kato light tubes and did LED lighting front and back. Sound decoder in it is the new Soundtraxx Tsunami II with the EMD1 sound file, so it's a little bit different than the SD60 I did a couple months ago. Sounds awesome though, really happy with it, just like the other one there. This is the third Soundtraxx Tsunami II that I've installed. Speaker for this one's a little bit different than what I've done in the past. I used another iPhone 4 speaker, and I kind of milled out the shell. There's some sprues that were in the top of the shell. I milled those completely flat, and then I siliconed that iPhone 4 speaker right in the back. So it starts somewhere up in here, and it takes up this whole space in the top near the radiator. Sounds awesome though. If you have room for it, I think going forward, that's all I'm going to be using is those iPhone 4 speakers. They're super cheap and they sound awesome. One other thing that's different about this install was I actually milled out the exhaust here. So on the Kato models, it's a solid cast piece, and I just use a drill to drill out in between those fins. And the reason for that was to try and get more sound out of the shell. I think it does have an effect though. I think it does sound better than the other one that I did. Just for reference, here's a stock one from Kato. So those exhausts are just one solid piece. So that was the last DC locomotive I had to upgrade. So those locomotives that were sitting in boxes doing nothing, they're all on the layout now, pulling freight trains. So that's awesome. So once work slows down a bit, hopefully I'll get around to making some more layout videos, and I'll do a video of this pulling for United Way unit in the lead. So the only other thing I worked on this past month was we got away to Banff for a few days right before the craziness of work started. One of the main reasons for going was to shoot as many photos of the snow-capped mountains in May as I could, kind of the springtime in Banff, and that's for the photo backdrop that I've been working on. So this is the second year I went out there trying to get photos, and we were a little bit luckier with the weather this year. So this is my progress so far on the Banff backdrop. It's about so this image is over 30 feet long, and I'm just trying to get the initial mountain backdrop in behind there before I go and do the next layers of tree line and stuff. So this is as far as I've gotten, and this particular one is about 4 images that I shot, and it's looking pretty good actually. So making it one kind of continuous panorama that I'm going to print off, and it's going to be about 3 feet tall, and then I'm going to just cut it off and then either glue it or just hang it somehow on my blue backdrop down here. So a huge learning curve with this. It's really taken me a long time just to get to this point, but I think it's going to be worth it in the long run. So hopefully once work slows down and I start to have some more free time available, I'm going to go at this photo backdrop thing as much as I can and try and get this done so I can start, because everything right now is pretty much held up by the photo backdrop. I want to get that on there before I start doing scenery and trying to match the colors to the photo. So that's where I'm at with that. So that's what I've been up to the last couple months. Try and get some more content out. Hopefully going to be wrapping up the heavy work hours here in the next 3 weeks or so. I hope you guys are having a great summer. As always, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.